If you have ever left a career or are thinking of leaving a career for whatever reasons, chances are you probably see it as a personal failure, maybe. But let's look into something positive that comes out of an experience where you leave a position associated with institutional prestige. And this is all based in my own personal experience. So those of you who know me from this channel probably already are aware that a couple of years ago I left my tenured position at a Research One university. I've never really explained the reasons. But before that, I had also left my first career, which was as an officer in the Pakistan Army. So today I would like to share that while at the time of leaving both these careers, it seemed like a loss, almost like a defeat. In hindsight, I can say that what followed in terms of my personal growth, but also in terms of my, actions in the world, most of the things that came out of those decisions to leave my careers were very positive. And that's what I would like to share today. So obviously, this is not one of my educational or political videos. It's a deeply personal video with a hope that maybe by sharing my experiences, I can encourage you to share yours as well, but also maybe some of it could be useful to you. That's my hope. So my first career was in Pakistan Army. I got enrolled into a military farm school in 8th grade, and from 8th grade all the way to my 10 years service as an infantry officer, I was a soldier. Now, one thing about being a career soldier, career infantry officer, is that it's not just a job. It becomes your identity. You become it. I had combat experience during that service. I taught at the School of Infantry and Tactics. I commanded an infantry company. I was the staff officer for a battalion that was deployed in the First Gulf War. All of these experiences were part of my identity as an officer. But in 1996, I resigned my commission for personal reasons. Thankfully, the Pakistan Army acknowledged my service and instead of accepting my resignation, gave me a retirement with benefits. But during the phase while I was leaving the army, one particular thing stood out to me immediately. And that was that people who had aligned themselves with me, thinking of my career, I was at the top of my service bracket. Those whose interest was just superficial abandoned me, stopped talking to me, right? But those who were true friends not only stayed in touch with me, but saw me through the entire process. Those are the people who were my true friends, who still are my true friends, and I stay in touch with them. So one great thing that came out of leaving the Pakistan Army was that I was absolutely clear about who were my real friends, and I cherished them. Another thing that I see as positive is that had I not left the army, I would have probably continued my career and maybe accomplished some great things. But leaving that career helped me become the kind of person that I am, helped me become the scholar and the teacher that you see today. So in a way, a loss of a career, leaving it behind, moving to United States, struggling through school, graduate school, all of that experience made me into the person that I am. And I see that as an amazingly positive thing in my life, a life-changing event, which actually changed my life. Coming to leaving my tenured position at a university, as I said, I've never explained the reasons. Maybe someday when I have some distance from it, I will. But right now, I don't feel the reason to. But like the army, when you become part of the academia, it's not just a job. It's a career, but it also becomes your identity. People call you Professor Raja, Dr. Raja, right? That becomes your identity. So when you leave it, you're not just severing yourself with the institutional resources that you need for your research, you're also leaving a part of your identity behind. And it can be a very hard transition. In my case, it wasn't all that hard for a couple of reasons. One, I love to teach, and by the time I left the academy, I was already teaching on YouTube. I was producing materials that people use. So that urge, which Erik Erikson calls generativity, right, our natural instinct to teach, that was amply fulfilled by you all and by this channel. But leaving academia also taught me or reinforced the lesson that I had learned when I had left the Pakistan Army, and that was that people who were associated with me or stayed in touch with me for their personal interest. I mean, there wasn't much I could do, but I could at least write a letter for them or give them some guidelines about how to apply to universities. And during my career, I did help a lot of people other than just teaching. So those who were insincere and were only interested in what they could gain from me in terms of material advantages vanished from my life, right? I have never heard from them. And, I guess I'm a nobody to them. But those who were true friends stayed with me during the struggle while I was fighting my way out of academia and have stayed with me even now. These are the people who check on me, who occasionally send me a message or a Facebook note. They don't want anything from me. They have never asked me for anything. But they just care about me as a human being. So the greatest lesson that I learned from this second walking away from a career is that, one, what you have, no one can take it away from you. I am a teacher, right? I don't need a university to be able to teach. I'm a scholar. I can still write. I can still publish. So what you are stays with you, but it grows in different circumstances. But most importantly, what you also learn is the value of true friendships, the value of people who care about you, who care about your work. And I'm just not talking about friends that I know. There are people on this channel, subscribers, right? Or people who just come to it for the first time. They're the ones who reach out through a comment and tell me that what I have produced, they have used it and that it was useful to them. That is brilliant. That is something that I see as an absolute positive outcome of having left my academic job. Another material advantage of that is that I am unrestrained. No institution can tell me, hey, you can't produce a video on this and you can't use this equipment. No. I am free to opine about anything that I feel concerned about or which I think is important to you. And no one can tell me I need their permission for that. One more important thing is, which I learned after my first career shift, but also after abandoning my academic career, is that the choice for me, at least the second time, was to stay in, keep fighting, and try to survive in a hostile environment. Not the whole environment. I mean, the university was great, but there were a few people, and wait them out. But what that was doing to me was materially, physically, it was harming my health. And of course, it was harming my emotional health. Leaving with honor and dignity did two things. It stunned my opponents. Why did it stun them? Because no one ever walks away from a tenured position at a research one university. This is something that those people couldn't even imagine doing. So it did that, I hope, to them. But two, it got me out of something that was hurting my soul and allowed me to put my energies into positive things, into things that matter to me. You, this world, peace in it. Efforts to share the little I know, and efforts to change the world in solidarity with others. And I think that was the most important thing for me. Having something creative, constructive, and inspirational to do, whether or not I had an institution behind my back. So, I'm sharing this partly so that you get to know me better, of course, but also we live in a world, I said it in one of my books, we live in an unjust world where most of the times we ourselves create situations that are hurtful to others. So if you are in such a situation, reach out and find out who your true friends are. It may be just one or two, but reach out. If you see someone being ostracized and targeted wherever you are, reach out to them. It will mean a lot to them. But also, wherever you are, if the situation is so toxic that it's hurting your soul, there's a whole world out there. If you need to, take that step, plan ahead, and then leave. Do something else positive. I mean, here is how I planned my exit. I enrolled in two kinds of courses in my own time. There were two avenues that I wanted to explore. So I took a 6-month course, online live sessions on life coaching, the techniques of it, the art of it. And I also took about 36 courses with a reputable design company, school, on user experience research. The idea was that I would either get to work as a user experience researcher if I had a chance, or I could become a success coach, a life coach. Now, the user experience job market didn't work out for me, but what I learned in those classes is useful. And the life coaching course enabled me to start my own coaching company. Of course, it's not big, but I have clients. And the fun part of it is that I get to help them with their work. I'm working with someone who's writing a dissertation, at least 2 people, one person who's writing a book. And then sometimes I work with people who are applying to grad school. So it combines my experience of having been in academia, then having gone through a life coaching course. So what I'm trying to say is that these are the two avenues that I explored and I got expertise in. I deliberately planned to leave so that I am not left stranded. You may not have the option to do so, but if you can, plan ahead, find out other ways of being in this world where you can make a living and also enjoy doing what you do. So overall, twice in my life, I have changed careers, left them. And both the times, the results, the outcomes were positive personally, emotionally, but also materially. And both the experiences taught me new things about myself, about what I can and cannot do, but also taught me, and this is important, as to who my true friends were. And I think, looking at it in hindsight, that's really worth it. Given a chance, I'll do it again. So these are some of the thoughts that I wanted to share, deeply personal, with a hope that maybe it can be helpful to you. Now, if you're going through such an experience, or if you have had such an experience, or know of someone else who's dealing with it or has dealt with it, please feel free to share your thoughts, your ideas. Send me your thoughts, whatever you can contribute in the comments. I'll be deeply grateful. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe, take care of each other, and as always, from me to you, peace and love.